Man, and I can tell you, if there's anything similar to a woman that had small tits the whole life, and the first time she sees herself with big tits in the mirror,
Yes, yeah, I got you.
that was my exact feeling, bro.
Yeah, the body fat percentage is so important. Have you ever, I don't know if you've had this experience. I've had people that I know that have put on 50 pounds of fat, either, some traumatic thing happened or childbirth or something, and then their neurology changes. Like they start thinking different. They start saying crazy. Like, I just don't think people understand how being in shape actually makes you smarter. I know it sounds crazy to some people, but there's a great book by Daniel Perlmutter called Grain Brain, where it goes over excessive amounts of gluten actually creating plaque on the brain and leading to early onset Alzheimer's. I'm just wondering if you've noticed anything like that too. Like, you actually can think better when you're in better shape.
I've come a lot of people coming to me just because they wanted to lose body fat or they wanted to gain muscle. And after 6 months, after the journey, after losing the belly fat and everything, that's when they realize, oh, I came to you just to lose the belly fat and to get shredded. But it ended up improving my business. Like, it ended up like my business improved so much, like even in terms of dating, their dating life like improved, of course. So that happens with a lot of guys. Like, if you're an entrepreneur trying to make, like, let's say 7 figures a year, 1 million a year, and your body is not optimized, like your body fat percentage is higher and everything, it's like a car like with a flat tire trying to win a race.
Mm.
Right? Like, it doesn't make sense because, like, it's not just about the fat, it's about your hormones. Like, it's going to increase your estrogen levels, it's going to decrease your testosterone. Like, overall, you're not going to be a machine that's functioning properly like this. So even if you don't care about the looks at all and you just care about your business, you just care about making money, even then, like, getting your body fat percentage down is going to help with that greatly.
So let's talk about this, man. You have before and afters that are pretty amazing, like 50 pounds of muscle. I don't know what the time period was from that, but you went from something like you said 135 to 185, somewhere in that area.
Oh yeah, I was super, super skinny. I don't know if it was exactly 50 pounds of muscle, but I was really, really skinny. And it was a lot of eating a lot of food and training a lot, but it took a while. It was worth it, if you ask me.
Those before and after photos are pretty amazing that I've seen of you. What that before photo? Like, how old are you in that photo?
I was about 15, so
Okay.
I was like a very, very skinny teenager back then. And of course, people say sometimes, oh, also, like, of course, you grew older and everything, but
Sure.
like, yeah, I was still very, very skinny back then.
Yeah, yeah. No, I did. I put on 40 pounds of muscle, but it took 20 years. That was the difference. When I saw that photo, I thought that was pretty amazing. And then the other thing that I think is pretty unique about your story is that, I have had recently on, I had FitX Fearless on, and then I also had Alex Costa on, and we talked about the concept of Looksmaxing. And you have had a beard transplant, which is something that I wasn't even really sure was going on. I have several friends who've gone to Turkey for different types of plastic surgery, different stuff like that. Can you talk about that experience and what caused your experience with minoxidil and all these other things that led you to getting a beard transplant?
Yeah, so I always have, I don't know if you can edit that in after the video goes live, but
Yeah.
I always had a very patchy beard.
Mm.
If people go down on my Instagram, they can see I had like parts of my beard without beard. I always wanted to have a full beard, so I ended up trying everything. I was like, well, okay, I'm going to optimize my testosterone naturally. Then a couple of years later, I'm like, okay, this didn't work. Let me try minoxidil, applying minoxidil to my beard, the whole derma rolling thing. And it was having some effect, but it was not like the way I wanted. Then by coincidence, it was like back in 2021 when my social media kind of started like blowing up a little bit. I had a company in Turkey reaching out. They probably saw my picture and they were like, oh, this is the perfect person to do this with. And they reached out to me and they were like, hey, you come here, we can do a beard transplant to you, and you just have to give us a shout out on your socials. I thought about it and I'm like, why not? I did some research about it and it seemed pretty legit. So I ended up going, man, and I can tell you, if there's anything similar to a woman that had small tits the whole life, and the first time she sees herself with big tits in the mirror,
Yes, yeah, I got you.
that was my exact feeling, bro. When I saw my full beard in the mirror, I was like, oh wow. Like, to this day, I am like so grateful I did it.
Yeah.
And for any guy that has, like, would like to have a full beard, or maybe someone is balding, I highly recommend it. To this day, I'm very grateful I did it.
I'm sure you've seen this before because I know you've had discussions on about natties and fake natties or whatever. But like, there's guys who steroids, and women know they're taking steroids, and they still find those men attractive, even though they know that. And if women know you have hair transplant, but they still see that and you don't have to tell them, but if they still see your hair, they still find it attractive. Do you understand what I'm saying? Just like as men, we see a woman who has a boob job, and we're not like, oh my God, her boobs are fake, therefore they have no evolutionary utility, therefore they're not attractive. It's like, even though we see it, we're still attracted.
100%. I totally agree. So with anything that doesn't damage you, any procedure that doesn't damage you in the long term or damages your health, I don't see a reason why
Agreed, yeah.
you shouldn't do it. You know what I mean?
But so many successful guys I know have had hair transplants, like super wealthy dudes, and they were very open about it. And it's just like, it's not that big of a deal. It's like, it's not one of these things where afterwards there's a stigma or a shame. If a woman finds your full head of hair attractive, it doesn't make any difference to her. Just like the guy who's like the crime boss who makes his money illegally, his wife still spends the money. The guy who takes steroids and gets fucking jacked even though he's taking steroids, his wife still finds him physically attractive. And same type of situation like this. If people knew you had a beard transplant, I just don't think anyone would care. And I think people worry too much about that.
But I have to tell you, you seem to have very, very good genes. Like now that you're telling me that you never did a hair transplant and everything, you have very, very good genes. Like especially if you're on TRT and everything, and your head, you have a full head of hair. Like your face looking like you have really solid genes. I must say.
Well, the hair loss thing is so basically you had the hair loss gene, or you had the proclivity to have hair loss. And so like if somebody starts taking TRT or Trenbolone, like an extreme example would be like Trenbolone, they're going to lose their hair quicker. So that's when you're going to see like the bodybuilder lose his hair in his 20s or whatever. But if you don't have that hair loss gene, so like my dad didn't lose his hair until he was like in his 60s, then you're just not going to do it. TRT or no TRT. I think that's the explanation that I've heard. When it comes to that specifically. But yeah, no, I also don't abuse it. Like that's the other thing. And I also don't drink. I don't do any drugs. And that's the other thing. But yeah, man, TRT was absolutely fantastic for me. The best way to explain it, Adolfo, diet stayed the same, but this kept getting bigger and my arms kept getting smaller or staying the same size. And when I got on TRT, this started getting smaller and my arms started getting bigger. That's the best way to explain it. And then my sex drive, like it wasn't even that it went up. It's just that I was more attuned to doing it more frequently. And then also, physical pain and discomfort felt good. Like going the bench press, instead of like dreading it, I was like excited for it, if that makes any sense. Like I felt like I was 19 again.
Just out of curiosity, are you taking finasteride as well, or you don't need
No,
it?
I heard about that. I'm taking a Nasosol, the estrogen blocker, but very little because my body fat percentage has gotten lower. I've had to take less and less, and then I'm taking either HCG or Clomid, depending on which I can get my hands on. And then HCG is hard to get a hold of in the United States unless you go to an actual location. And then like maybe 150 milligrams of exogenous testosterone per week. In the summer, I do more. I'll be honest with you, I do more. But I have a doctor. I have two doctors who actually go through my entire thing. I also take tesamorelin, and then I take what's the stuff called for your joints? The Wolverine stuff. I can't remember what it's called.
BPC,
Yeah, BPC 157. But there's one of them that specifically
B500.
No, I can't remember. I heard Joe Rogan talking about it, and I tried it out, and it's absolutely great. It works really well for inflammation. That's another thing that I tried. So there's a few peptides that I've tried, but I'm trying to do as little as possible on all of these things, and then just like slowly building up. This has been 4 years since I started doing some of that stuff. Yeah, but it's been really good. One of the things that you can control is, talking about your fitness. Obviously, your online fitness coach. I hear these guys, they'll hit me up about being a passport bro. Well, they'll go to another country because the women there are more apt to talking to them or whatever. And I've always said you do not have the right to be a passport bro if you're above 14% body fat. You need to improve that part of your life first. Can you talk about this, like the differences that happen when you put on lean muscle and lose body fat?
That comes back to the part about girls DMing you first on Instagram. When we're talking about in-person interactions, if a girl was noticing you across the bar in the first place before you talk to her, that's going to make the interaction so much different than if you just go up to her and she never even glanced at you before, right? So of course a girl's going to notice you better, like if you dress yourself well, and if she can see that you can take care of yourself physically. Then the thing in her mind is going to be, okay, does his personality match his physique? Like, is he actually an interesting guy? And she's going to be intrigued. But if you're like fat, like what is she going to be thinking? Oh, it must be, I wonder if he's nice or so. No, like she's not going to be even wondering about your personality overall, because she's not even going to notice you in the first place in most cases, right? So that's why you have to maximize your chances of them noticing you first. And of course, like having an above average physique is going to improve your chances of
Yeah.
that.
Let's talk about the jawline and the beard, right? So you've talked about, your beard transplants, the things you did before with the minoxidil and other techniques that you had, and then there are exercises for your jaw.
So I never really did a lot of exercises specifically for my jawline. I think most people, if they decrease their body fat percentage enough, their jawline is gonna show and it's gonna look better. And of course, the beard emphasizes the jaw. But I know guys that did the jawline thing and it worked for them. I personally never took it that far to do jawline exercises specifically. And I think you should first focus on decreasing the body fat percentage before even,
Yeah.
jawline exercises.
Do you have any other Looksmaxing tips when it comes to skincare, hair, stuff like that?
Yeah, so I think a lot of guys overlook reducing stress levels. That's something that I think nowadays, like there's too much on social media that like hustle culture and this and that, and like go wake up at 3 a.m. and like all of this bullshit. Like I think you should optimize your life not just in one area, right? I think you should optimize your life amongst all areas, right? And one of them is, in my experience, spirituality, like becoming more mindful in the
Yeah.
moment, like become more present. And that in and on itself, it's going to make you glow more. It's going to make your hair stay in your 30s and 40s, and it's going to make you look better overall. Because there's, skincare routines and this and that. But if you don't have the stress levels in place, that's going to screw up everything, the acne, the hair. I noticed it myself, like with periods of my life when I was like really stressed. Maybe there was like some stuff happening like with the business or this or that. I noticed my hair getting thinner. And then like when
Wow.
I myself in a period of time where I'm calm, I get like my hair is like thicker, like now, for example, for the past couple of months, bro, I've been here in Brazil, like I'm calm like a cucumber, like business is going smooth, dating, like just life feels good. Like you go to the beach, and it's like I see it like on my body. I feel it on my body, like you feel it on your face, on your hair.
Yeah.
Um, so it's like a reflection of how you set up your life and overall your stress levels.
That's really smart. That's good. I think I believe it's either Alex Costa or FitX Fearless who said something similar to me, but I think that's really important to understand.